Ladies and gentlemen, I don't have to tell you that life isn't easy. We all know that. It's full of moments that knock you down. And I'm talking about real moments, real pain. I'm talking about those times when you feel like your chest is going to collapse. Like your heart's been ripped out of your body and you're left walking around in this numb, hollow shell. You know what I'm talking about, right? That feeling of loss. When you can't breathe, when you can't think, when every step you take feels like you're dragging 1,000 pounds. You know the kind of pain I'm talking about. The kind of pain that makes you want to just crawl into a corner somewhere and stay there. The kind of pain that hurts so deep, so real, that you wonder if you'll ever be able to pull yourself together again, if you'll ever be whole again. And when you're in that moment, when you're feeling that sting, when the tears won't stop, when the ache is so unbearable you think it might break you, you might think, how am I going to make it through this? But I'm here to tell you, you will make it through this. Yeah, I'm not going to lie to you. It hurts bad. And it doesn't feel like it's ever going to end. But listen to me when I tell you this pain is temporary. It may feel like it's lasting forever, like it's swallowing you whole. But it won't last forever. It will pass. The tears will dry up. Your heart, as broken as it is, will begin to heal. And I want you to remember this, because you're going to need it. Healing doesn't mean you forget. Healing doesn't mean you don't hurt anymore. No, healing means you find a way to move forward, even when your heart is still in pieces. Healing means you don't let that pain define you. It doesn't define who you are or who you're going to become. You're stronger than that. Look, I get it. The world can be cruel. Sometimes life just gives you a swift kick when you least expect it. You're walking along, feeling good, feeling like you've got it all figured out, and out of nowhere, wham, you hit a wall. And it shakes you. It rattles you. You feel like you're going to fall apart. I know the feeling. But here's the thing, you can't let that pain keep you down. You can't let that heartbreak control your life. You got to take a step back and look at it for what it really is. It's a lesson. It's not a punishment. It's not a verdict. It's a lesson. Now, I'm not saying it's easy. Oh no, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. You've got to fight. You've got to fight with everything you've got inside of you. And there's going to be days where it feels like that fight is too much, when the weight of the world is just too heavy for you to bear. And that's okay. You're allowed to feel that way. You're allowed to feel like you don't have the strength to get up again. But I need you to remember this. That's the moment when you can't quit. That's the moment when you got to push through. And when you're down in the dirt, when you're feeling like you can't take another step, that's when you've got to dig deep and say to yourself, I'm not done. I'm not finished. Not today. You don't get to quit. You don't get to throw in the towel just because things got tough. You stand up, you dust yourself off, and you keep moving. Because life is going to keep moving. It doesn't care if you're hurt. It doesn't care if you're broken. Life doesn't stop for anybody. So if you want to make it, if you want to heal, if you want to find your strength again, you've got to keep moving forward, even when it hurts. And let me tell you something. You're going to come out of this stronger than you were before. I know it doesn't feel like that now. I know you might feel like you're falling apart, like the pieces of you will never fit back together. But I promise you, the process of healing makes you stronger. You're not going to walk out of this unchanged, no sir. You're going to walk out of this with a new understanding of who you are. You're going to walk out of this with a fire in your belly, with a grit in your soul that nobody can take away from you. And that pain, it won't have the power to control you anymore. But let me be clear. I'm not saying you shouldn't grieve. I'm not saying you should pretend it didn't hurt, or that you should just stuff it down and act like it's all good. No, you feel that pain. You allow yourself to cry, to be upset, to feel angry, confused, whatever it is you're feeling in that moment. You own it. You embrace it. Because that's part of the process too. You've got to process the pain so it doesn't own you. You can't move forward until you deal with the weight of it. You can't heal unless you face it head on. But here's the catch: don't live there. Don't stay in that pain. You can't let it define you. It's It's a part of your story, but it's not your whole story. You've got more chapters to write. You've got more life to live. You've got more victories ahead of you. So take a moment, take a breath, and then take a step forward. Because the only way out of that pain is through it. You've got to walk through it. You've got to keep going. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. There are going to be days when you think you've healed, when you think you're good, and then out of nowhere, you'll get hit with a reminder. Something will trigger it. A memory, a place, a song, a word, and bam, you're right back there feeling like you're drowning in the hurt all over again. It's going to happen. And when it does, don't beat yourself up. You're human. That's part of the journey. Healing isn't linear. It doesn't just happen in a straight line. Some days are good. Some days are bad. Some days you'll feel like you've conquered the world. And other days it'll feel like the world is crushing you. But you have to keep showing up for yourself. You have to keep putting one foot in front of the other. Because that's how you heal. That's how you rise. The truth is, a broken heart doesn't just heal on its own. It takes time. It takes patience. It takes grace for yourself. And in those dark moments when you feel like you're alone, when the weight of the world is too heavy and you think nobody understands, just know this, you're not alone. You're not the only one who's been through this, and you're not the only one who's going to make it through. You don't have to have it all figured out right now. You don't have to know exactly how it's going to happen. You don't have to have the answers. Just take it one day at a time. That's all you can do. And when those tough days come, you remember what I'm telling you, this is temporary. This pain, this heartbreak, it's temporary. But who you become in the process, that's forever. That's what lasts. So don't rush your healing. Don't rush the journey. Take your time. But never forget that you are stronger than you think. You are tougher than you feel. And no matter how broken you are right now, you've got the power to rebuild yourself piece by piece until you're whole again. And trust me on this, when you get through this, when you come out on the other side, you will be unbreakable. You'll have a strength that no one can take from you. You'll have a story that's yours. A story of resilience, of overcoming, of facing the toughest of battles and still standing tall. So stand up, dust yourself off, and get ready to rise. Because this heart, it may be broken, but it's not finished. Not by a long shot. Heartbreak and pain can feel unbearable, but they are temporary. Though it may seem like the pain will last forever, time, patience, and perseverance will allow healing to take place. The journey of healing is a process that requires confronting the pain and moving through it, not avoiding it. It's important to acknowledge and feel your pain, to allow yourself to grieve and process emotions. However, you must not let that pain define your life or your future. The pain is a part of your story, but it is not your entire story. You are more than your heartbreak. The toughest moments often lead to the strongest growth. The struggle of overcoming heartbreak builds resilience, character, and strength. Each setback is an opportunity to come back stronger. And even though healing is not linear, you are evolving and becoming unbreakable. When facing heartbreak, the most important thing is to keep moving forward. Even on the hardest days, don't quit. Take it one step at a time, even if it feels impossible. Each small effort brings you closer to healing and to becoming a stronger version of yourself. These keynotes emphasize the importance of facing pain, building resilience, and continuing to move forward through difficult times. Pain is temporary, healing is a process. You've heard that before, but sometimes in the thick of the hurt, it can be hard to believe you're going through it, living in the midst of it. And in those moments, it feels like the pain is never going to end. It feels like it's going to consume you, like it's going to define you, like it's the only thing you're ever going to feel. The weight of it presses on your chest and you struggle to catch your breath. The world seems gray, cold, and distant, and the light at the end of the tunnel feels like it's a million miles away. But I need you to understand this truth, the pain you're feeling right now. It's temporary. It's part of a larger process, and it's not the final chapter of your story. You see, pain doesn't last forever, but healing takes time. It's a slow, steady process. And just because it feels like it's never going to end doesn't mean it won't. Think of it like a storm. When you're in the middle of it, it seems like the clouds will never part, that the rain will never stop. But storms always pass. The sun will eventually break through. Sometimes it feels like that sun is just too far away to reach, but it's there. It's waiting for you. You just have to ride out the storm. You might not know it now, but the pain you're feeling, whether it's from heartbreak, loss, disappointment, or any kind of deep wound, is shaping you. It's preparing you for something greater than you could ever imagine. The hurt, the confusion, the anger, it's all part of a process that will ultimately bring you to a better place. But you have to trust the process. That's the hardest part, isn't it? Trusting the process when everything inside you is screaming for relief. When your mind is overwhelmed with doubts, when your heart is heavy with sorrow, it's hard to see beyond the pain. But you have to keep going. You have to keep putting one foot in front of the other, even when it feels like the weight of the world is on your shoulders. The journey of healing is often much longer than we want it to be. We want the pain to disappear immediately. We want to move on, to forget, to get back to the person we were before the hurt. But that's not how healing works. Healing doesn't happen in an instant. It takes time. It's a step-by-step process, and sometimes you won't even feel the progress until you look back and realize how far you've come. You might have days when the pain feels fresh again. Even after you thought you were doing better, you might feel like you're slipping backward. But don't mistake that for failure. Healing isn't linear. It's not a straight line. There will be ups and downs. There will be good days, and there will be bad days, and there will be bad days, and that's okay. That's part of the process. The healing process doesn't require perfection. It doesn't require you to be over it all at once. It requires you to keep going, even when it feels like you're not making progress. Sometimes the fact that you get out of bed and face the day is progress. Sometimes the fact that you're still here, still breathing, still willing to try again, that's the biggest victory. And in those moments when the pain feels like too much, when you feel like you can't take another step, I need you to remember that healing is happening. You might not see it right now, but it's happening. The healing process is not something that's happening to you, it's something that's happening within you. Your heart, your mind, your spirit, they are working together, even when you feel completely shattered, to rebuild you, to strengthen you, to help you grow. And that's the beauty of it all. You're not just getting through the pain, you're becoming someone stronger, someone wiser, someone who knows the depth of their own resilience. You don't have to rush your healing. There's no timeline for it. There's no right way to do it. Some people heal faster than others, and some people take longer. That's okay. What matters is that you don't give up on yourself. You don't give up on the process. Even when you feel like you're stuck, even when you feel like you're drowning in the hurt, trust that it will pass. Trust that you're doing the work, even when it doesn't feel like it. Every time you face another day, every time you face that pain and continue to live, you are healing. It's also important to recognize that the healing process isn't about erasing the pain. It's not about forgetting what hurt you or pretending that it didn't matter. That's not what healing is. Healing is about accepting that the pain is part of your story. It's about learning to live with it, not in a way that holds you back, but in a way that gives you the strength to move forward. It's about integrating the pain into who you are, using it as fuel to push you toward the person you're meant to become. The pain becomes a teacher, showing you who you are, showing you your strengths, and showing you what's worth fighting for. And in that sense, the pain has value. It has meaning. You may not see it right now, but one day you'll look back and understand why you had to go through this. In the midst of the pain, you might feel like your life is over. Like the dreams you had are shattered, like the future you imagined is gone. But that's not the truth. The truth is you're still here. The truth is you're still breathing. And as long as you're still breathing, the future is still in front of you. You're still capable of creating something beautiful, even from the brokenness. You're still capable of finding joy, love, and peace in places you never expected. The pain may have shattered your plans, but it can't shatter your future. It can't shatter the potential that's inside of you. That potential is still there, waiting for you to discover it, waiting for you to rise again. Healing is also about forgiveness. It's about forgiving others who may have hurt you, But more importantly, it's about forgiving yourself. Sometimes the hardest part of healing is letting go of the guilt, the self-blame, and the anger that we carry. We tell ourselves that we should have seen it coming. We tell ourselves that we should have known better. We tell ourselves that we're somehow to blame for the pain. But let me tell you something, you are not to blame. You are human. You made choices based on what you knew at the time. And sometimes things don't work out the way we hope. Sometimes things don't go the way we want them to. But that doesn't mean you're broken. That doesn't mean you're unworthy. It just means that you're human, and that's okay. The process of healing involves letting go of that self-blame and giving yourself the grace to move forward. There's also something powerful about sharing your pain. When you're going through something difficult, it can feel isolating. You may feel like no one else understands what you're going through, like you're alone in your struggle. But I want you to know that there are others who have walked similar paths. There are people who have faced heartbreak, loss, betrayal, and disappointment, and they have come through the other side. There are people who can help you, who can offer a listening ear, who can offer their wisdom, their guidance, and their love. Healing doesn't have to be done in isolation. Don't be afraid to lean on those around you. Don't be afraid to ask for support. You don't have to carry the weight of your pain alone. Reach out. Ask for help. It's not a sign of weakness, it's a sign of strength. The healing process isn't easy. It's not quick, it's not always linear. But it is worth it. You will look back one day and you'll be amazed at how far you've come. You'll look back and realize that the person you are today is stronger, wiser, and more compassionate than the person you were before the pain. And that is a beautiful thing. So don't rush the process. Don't try to skip over the hard parts. Embrace them. Because every moment of pain is an opportunity for growth, for healing, for transformation. And you are on your way to becoming the person you're meant to be. You just have to trust the process and keep moving forward one step at a time. Embrace your pain, but don't let it define you. That's a tough concept, isn't it? When you're going through the fire, when you're drowning in your emotions, when every part of you feels broken and torn, the last thing you want to do is embrace the pain. You want to run from it. You want it to go away. You want to wake up and find that everything is better. You want the relief to come right now, not tomorrow or next year. But here's the truth, you can't run from your pain. You can't wish it away. It doesn't work like that. What you can do, though, is choose to embrace it, to face it head on, and use it as a stepping stone to a better version of yourself. When we experience pain, whether it's the result of heartbreak, loss, disappointment, failure, or betrayal, it can feel like the world has caved in on us. It can feel like everything that made sense in our lives has unraveled. We feel exposed. We feel vulnerable. We feel like we've been hit by a storm. And the worst part is we often feel like we have no control over it. The pain is raw. It cuts deep. But that's where the real strength lies. That's where the growth happens, not in the avoidance of the pain, but in the way we choose to deal with it. The way we decide to respond when we're faced with it. You see, embracing your pain doesn't mean wallowing in it or letting it consume you. It doesn't mean you let it control you. Embracing your pain means allowing yourself to feel it, to process it, to understand it, and then using that understanding to make you stronger. Pain is a part of life. It's inevitable. We all experience it. It doesn't matter who you are, where you come from, how strong you are, or how much success you have. It's part of the human condition. But while pain is inevitable, suffering is optional. Suffering is what happens when you let the pain take over your life, when you let it define you, when you let it dictate your future. When you let your pain define you, it becomes all-consuming. It becomes the lens through which you view everything. It shapes your thoughts, your actions, and your interactions with others. It limits your ability to see beyond the hurt, to imagine a future where you can be whole again. It traps you in the past, in that moment when everything fell apart. And when you live in that place, when you allow the pain to define you, you stop living, you stop growing, you stop fighting, you become stagnant, and you miss the opportunity to evolve. But embracing your pain means something different. It means allowing yourself to feel the hurt, but not allowing it to be your entire identity. You are not your pain. You are not the heartbreak, the loss, the betrayal, or the failure. You are more than that. You are all of the things that came before the pain and all of the things that will come after it. You are your strength, your resilience, your ability to rise again. You are your dreams, your passions, your purpose. Pain is a part of your journey, but it is not your destination. So how do you embrace your pain without letting it define you? The first step is acceptance. You have to accept that pain is a natural part of life. You can't fight it. You can't deny it. When you're hurting, there's no point in pretending that everything is okay. The more you deny your pain, the more you resist it, the longer it will take to heal. You have to acknowledge it. You have to give yourself permission to feel. Don't suppress it. Don't push it away. Let yourself cry. Let yourself grieve. Let yourself be angry. Let yourself feel the full spectrum of emotions that come with the pain. But in doing so, remind yourself that this pain does not define you. It's just a moment in time, a chapter in your story. The second step is understanding. Understanding your pain is crucial to healing. It's easy to feel like the pain is random, like it came out of nowhere and hit you without warning. But often, pain has a deeper cause, a deeper lesson to teach you. Understanding your pain means reflecting on what caused it, what it's teaching you, and what you can learn from it. Sometimes the pain is a result of our own choices, our own actions or inactions. Other times it's the result of circumstances beyond our control. But regardless of where it comes from, there's always something to learn. Pain can be a powerful teacher, but you can't learn from it if you're too busy running from it. You have to sit with it. You have to look it in the face and say, what can I learn from this? How can this help me grow? The third step is resilience. Resilience is what allows you to move forward, even when the pain feels like it's too much to bear. It's the ability to keep going, to keep fighting, even when you feel like you've been knocked down. Resilience doesn't mean you never fall. It doesn't mean you never get hurt. It means you rise after every fall. It means you get up, dust yourself off, and keep moving forward, even when it feels like the road is too long or too difficult. Resilience is built in the moments when you feel like giving up but choose not to. It's built in the moments when you choose to face the pain, to face the struggle, and to keep going. And over time, you'll look back and realize that the pain didn't break you, it made you stronger. Struggle is a part of life, but it doesn't define you. What defines you is how you respond to it. You can choose to let the struggle break you, or you can choose to use it to build yourself up. You can choose to let the pain defeat you, or you can choose to rise above it. And with each challenge you face, each time you push through the hardship, you build resilience one step at a time. You become someone who is unshakable, someone who can face anything with confidence, knowing that no matter what comes your way, you will find a way through it. And that's the power of resilience. It's built through struggle, and it's in those struggles that we become who we were always meant to be. Keep moving forward one step at a time. Sounds so simple, doesn't it? Just keep moving. Take one step, then another, and eventually you'll get to where you need to be. But when you're stuck in the middle of life's battles, when you're weighed down by grief, disappointment, or uncertainty, taking that one step can feel like climbing a mountain. It feels impossible. You don't know if you can keep going, or even if it's worth it. When you're at your lowest, when you feel like you've been beaten down by the world, it can seem like the idea of moving forward is a distant dream. Something that only happens for other people, people who have it all together, people who haven't fallen apart the way you have. But that's the truth, isn't it? Life is tough. We all go through struggles, and sometimes it feels like we're sinking in quicksand. The more we try to move, the more we feel stuck. We look at the road ahead and see nothing but obstacles, challenges, and difficulties. It's easy to get overwhelmed. It's easy to feel like you're never going to get through it. But no matter how heavy the burden or how dark the road, the one thing that will always get you through is just keep moving forward, one step at a time. There's power in small actions. So easy to think you have to make huge leaps or monumental changes to see progress, but real growth often happens in the smallest, quietest steps. It happens when you get up in the morning and put one foot in front of the other. It happens when you face the challenges of the day, even when you don't feel like it. Sometimes that's all you can do. You don't need to have all the answers. You don't need to know exactly how things will turn out. What matters is that you keep moving forward, even if the steps feel tiny, even if the progress feels slow. The key is to remember that moving forward doesn't require perfection. It doesn't require that you have everything figured out. It just requires that you keep going. Think about it when you're walking. You don't need to see the entire road ahead of you to take the next step. You just need to see enough to keep moving forward. You might not know what's around the corner, but as long as you keep your eyes focused on what's right in front of you, you can continue moving in the right direction. So take it one step at a time. That's how progress is made. One of the biggest reasons people get stuck in life is because they try to do too much at once. They look at the mountain they have to climb and become paralyzed by its sheer size. They look at the obstacles, the setbacks, the challenges, and they don't know where to begin. It's overwhelming. But if you focus on taking one step at a time, suddenly the mountain doesn't feel so impossible. It's just a series of small steps, each one getting you closer to the top. You don't need to conquer the whole thing in one fell swoop. You just need to move forward, even if that means taking it slow. Sometimes life doesn't give us the luxury of seeing the whole picture. We don't always know how things will turn out or where the path will lead. That uncertainty can be terrifying. It can make you second guess every decision, every step you take. But here's the thing, not knowing is part of the process. Life is full of unknowns, and it's easy to get caught up in the fear of what you can't control. But fear of the unknown shouldn't paralyze you. In fact, it should motivate you. It should push you to keep moving forward, even if you're unsure of the next step. Because the truth is, you'll never have all the answers. You won't know exactly how things are going to play out. But if you focus on taking the next step, and then the next, you'll find your way. You don't need to see the whole road, just the next step in front of you. The beauty of moving forward, one step at a time, is that you're not required to have everything together. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to have all the strength or all the courage at once. You just need to make the decision to keep going. When you're feeling overwhelmed, when life is pulling you in every direction, it's easy to feel like you can't keep up. It's easy to feel like you're falling behind, like you're not making enough progress. But remember, progress isn't always about speed. Sometimes it's just about persistence. It's about refusing to give up, even when it feels like the world is pushing against you. Every step you take matters. Every small decision to keep going to face another day is a victory. Every time you rise from a fall, every time you push through the pain, you're building resilience. You're building strength. You're creating a foundation for the person you're becoming. Moving forward is not about running away from the struggle, it's about moving through it. And in that process, you grow stronger. You learn more about yourself. You discover depths of resilience and strength that you never knew you had. But you can't discover those things if you stay stagnant. You can't grow if you're not willing to keep moving forward, even if it feels slow. And here's something else to remember, you're not alone in this. When you feel like you're the only one struggling, when it seems like everyone else has their life together and you're stuck in the mess, remember this, everyone is facing something. Everyone is going through their own battles, their own struggles. Some people wear their struggles on their sleeves, others keep them hidden. But we all face hard times. It's part of the human experience. No one is exempt from the tough moments, and no one is exempt from the fear, the doubt, or the uncertainty. But that's also what makes us all connected. We're all in this together. And that's why when you're struggling, when it feels like you can't go on, don't hesitate to reach out. Don't be afraid to lean on someone else to ask for help. You don't have to carry the burden alone. Just like you're moving forward one step at a time, so are others. And sometimes taking that step means helping each other. Sometimes the hardest part of moving forward is simply getting started. The thought of taking the first step can be paralyzing. We fear failure, we fear rejection, we fear that we'll make the wrong choice. But the truth is, you'll never know unless you try. Taking that first step is the key to unlocking the potential that lies on the other side of fear. You can sit and wonder about what might happen, or you can take that first step into the unknown and start the journey. The first step is always the hardest, but it's the most important. Once you take it, the next step comes easier. And with each step, you build momentum, you build confidence, you build trust in yourself. There's something else that happens when you commit to moving forward. Even when it's tough, you begin to let go of the past. The past can be a heavy weight to carry, full of regrets, mistakes, and memories that hold you back. But when you keep moving forward, one step at a time, you start to leave that weight behind. You start to realize that the only thing you can control is the present. The only thing you can control is the step you're taking right now. And that's incredibly freeing. It's incredibly empowering. When you realize that you don't have to carry the past with you, when you understand that the only thing that matters is the next step, you begin to let go of the baggage. You begin to move through life with a lighter heart, a clearer mind, and a greater sense of possibility. And you will get there. You will reach your destination. It might not be as fast as you want, and it might not look like you expected, but as long as you keep moving forward, you will get to where you need to be. The road may twist and turn, and there may be obstacles along the way, but you are capable of navigating them. As long as you keep taking those small, consistent steps, you'll reach the place you're meant to be. Sometimes the journey is just as important as the destination. It's in the steps that you learn the most about yourself, that you build the strength and resilience to face whatever comes next. The journey is the lesson. The journey is where you grow. So whatever you're facing right now, whatever mountains you're climbing, whatever struggles you're enduring, keep moving forward, one step at a time. You don't have to do it all at once. You don't have to have everything figured out. Just keep putting one foot in front of the other and trust that each step brings you closer to the person you're becoming, closer to the life you're meant to live. It won't always be easy, but it will always be worth it. And eventually you'll look back and realize how far you've come. The journey will have shaped you. The steps will have transformed you. And you'll have learned that the power of moving forward, even when you don't know what's next, is one of the greatest strengths you can possess.